We're gonna start off with these Falcons, man. So, it is the end
That's where
of
you want to start?
the season. It is playoff starts. I'm sorry, it's playoff races. You have the AFC wild card, NFC wild card, and division race. Uh, the Falcons controlled their own destiny. They were a half game ahead of the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers beat the Carolina Panthers 40-17. So uh, in order for us to keep our lead, we had to beat Washington in Washington, which was going to be a very, very difficult game because we have to play the presumed rookie of the year in Jaden Daniels, possibly, and against that defense as well, with a rookie quarterback starting his first road game. This was the first primetime game in NFL history featuring two rookie starting quarterbacks taken in the first round. Jaden Daniels taking number 2, Michael Penix taking number 8. Uh, uh, and then, of course, before the game, Michael Penix ended up getting engaged to his now fiance Olivia. So congrats to Michael Penix on those as well.
MPJ, congratulations on finding your lady. Congratulations on finding your team. Congratulations on being my quarterback. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good night.
yeah. So shout out to both of these players,
And
Jaden
and
Daniels.
as we go back to that once again every week, I'm going to remind you this is why they did not let black people play quarterback. This is it.
Yep, yep. So
And before we get into it, I'll be honest. This game gave us everything we asked from these two guys.
yeah. So the game was Falcons ended up losing 30-24.
Heartbreak.
Heartbreaking game. I'm gonna start off. We're gonna talk about the offense, the defense, and the special teams. I'm gonna call this game Tale of Two Halves. Basically, we played really well in the first half. Almost, you can pretty much say dominated the first half, and then we basically lost. We lost one quarter of this whole game, and that one quarter had us lose the game. We lost third quarter. Um, so let's start off with grades, and then we'll get into some type of detail on either offense. I'm gonna do offense, defense, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Offense, give the grade a B. Defense, give it a C. Coaching, give it a D minus.
Oh, well, mine is completely different. I give the offense B plus. I could really give him an A minus. Michael Penix Jr., like you just said, for a first road game, primetime game, essentially a playoff game. The one interception he threw, I don't know if that was a bad route or that was a bad throw.
It was a bad route.
I think that that's a chemistry thing. He thought he went to do, a lot of times they run option routes, and it's understood that you do one thing. I think that's just not enough reps in the seat. So I kind of put that as a dog fall to me. But outside of that, Bijan was effective. Algier was effective. Pitts gave us a touchdown. So for me, I was very happy with the offense as a whole.
So you want to go into each one? So okay, if that's how you feel about the offense, then the reason I gave him a B is because one, the offense looks way different under Penix. It looks more
Yeah,
smooth.
because you go east, west, and north and south. Before it was just north and south.
It looks like Kirk was really the issue. It's unfortunate, but the fact that it's coming out that they're saying that they made the change because they felt that Kirk physically can't play football anymore. And I don't know if he physically can't play, but he physically cannot play in this scheme. And it was so evident from really the second drive, because the first drive he had that pick, like you said. I do think that was on the receiver. That was a receiver that we brought up from the practice squad because of the familiarity with Michael Penix Jr., but he also hadn't played in the game for real. So,
Right.
so you had that, but for the most part, Penix looked real good. Zach Robinson called a clean game. I mean, I can understand you give the offense a minus, a B plus.
Limited penalties. Limited penalties.
I think we
Everything
had
is
three penalties going into the overtime.
right.
Penix, like I said, looks like a real deal. Strong arm, good decision making, calm under pressure. That whole thing of him being calm under pressure and being an adult, it was there.
Don't mind getting bumped either. Like he got bumped. He threw that touchdown to Pitts in a tiny window. He threw it aggressively. He knew, hey, I had it, and he did it. That is what he looked like, a guy who's played a decent amount of college football and then got a chance to sit behind a professional. I will say
Yes.
this. He gave me everything I asked for from him.
Shout out to Kyle Pitts. Not only was he being used, and I think I see the role of they're trying to use him in this offense as an outlet, and as somebody that can kind of post up when you get into the red zone. It's just that Kirk Cousins couldn't move. He couldn't stay. He couldn't elongate the play. He couldn't. He couldn't get out of the pocket. And Michael Penix did get out of the pocket, and you saw Pitts even on some stuff that was called back as a penalty. Pitts got the catch and was wide open. The thing I did like, and the reason I gave him a B instead of an A, need more practice time. Need more practice time. Need more practice time. Need more practice time. Missed Bijan on a touchdown. Wheel route that you had called for. They brought him in the slot. He wheeled out. He ran up the field against Jeremy Chin, and actually got and was behind it, and that was an 80-yard touchdown. Missed that one. A lot of slight overthrows. None of the throws were bad. None of them were like just absolutely awful. There was one in the first half, right before he threw it was nerves. I count the first drive to nerves. After that, he was cooking, and then I think why didn't we use Algier? Algier in the first half. In the second quarter, we mowed Washington down. We mowed them down.
Yep.
Algier had 3 carries for 19 yards, averaging 6.5 yards a carry, and we never gave him the ball again. Now, I know there's circumstance because you're down before, but you have got to figure out a way to get Algier more involved. I know Bijan is the guy. Bijan is the shiny new toy. He looks amazing. Every run he does, 2 yard, 3 yard, 4 yard, 5 yard should have been. If it's a 5 yard run, it sometimes should have been a 2 yard run. If it's a 10 yard run, it should have been a 4 yard run.
No,
He makes stuff out of nowhere.
They're all 7-yard runs. There should be 2-yard runs. Every time it's like, bam, you should have got him right there. Then he does the jump cut, or he just does the wiggle, and he's strong enough that I'm just going to get 5 more yards. And that has to be really good for offensive linemen.
But so does Algier, though. Algier does the same thing. He just doesn't. He doesn't jump cut. He just hits you in the mouth. And you have both of those, and you could have just ran them down. I mean, you could have mowed them down, and we did it second half.
That's the reason I've always said I wanted Algier to be RB1. I think that if you just destroy them with Algier, by the time you get Bijan, you're winded. I think that
it does it the same way. You could make them winded with Bijan, which is what we're doing, and then give Algier the ball to run through their face.
But the thing that even Raheem spoke about is I think that's the reason that Bijan has not hit as many home run touchdowns as we would really like from a guy who runs like he does. Is he's getting them fresher. I would like to see, and I mean, you can switch it up. You don't always have to be him first. Change the paces till you figure out what works. Like, it's working well enough, but I also think that the way that Bijan runs, he should have had a 40, 50 yarder this season. I just haven't seen. And I think that's because he's always he's going out there first.
But I mean, overall,
and I gave him an A because of context. 2 games, and then 2 games, and then your second game, for all intents and purposes, is a playoff game. And his overthrows, which you're right, he did overthrow. when he throws the ball, if he don't hit it, he don't put the ball in position for anybody else to make a play on the ball. That I appreciate.
Yeah. So you got your offense. I like where the offense is going. I be patient with Darnell Mooney. Please be patient, Darnell Mooney. I know that you only had 2 catches for 37 yards, 18 and a half, and there were a few overthrows and underthrows, but that's going to come with time. And I think,
and
honestly, you're going to see 20. You're going to see, I think, Carolina, I think this is going to be a Giants game, personally. I think he's going to go off. So the offense was good.
And Ray McCloud, bring him back. I like him. And I like that little jet sweep they ran with him. Put him out there. And shout out to the receivers blocking. They were out there. They made that play. And that wasn't a play that all receivers make. Some guys will phone it in, or they're just like, oh, I got beat. A matter of fact, I think it was Mooney who hit the first. Matter of fact, it was Mooney. Mooney blocked 2 dudes, and Cordell Hodge, I don't know if he was blocking or not. He was close over there. He was in the way. I appreciate him at least being in the way. But Mooney was aggressive and blocked 2 guys on that play. Yeah, I'm cool with bring back Ray. I like him.
So on defense, I gave him a C. Taylor 2 halves for the defense. Jimmy Lake, probably your best 3 quarters of defensive play calling, especially best first half, but best 3 quarters of defensive play calling in the game of this season. Great first half. Caden Ellis, I told you, I've been saying it now for a month. Just let him run around. No matter what just let him be out there on the field and run around. Got an interception, caused havoc. JD Bertrand.
Yep.
I understand it now. I didn't like the pick. Man, one thing you can do is come downhill, pause if necessary. You can run downhill and you can disrupt the quarterback. We had Jaden Daniels and what's your boy? The coach. Cliff Kingsbury had them befuddled. They were befuddled. Yeah. They were lost. The defense, 6 sacks. Can't get mad at him. 6 sacks.
Evercaddy was getting to it too.
Atlanta defense, the first 11 games had 10 sacks. Whatever difference we've made, we have 21 sacks in the last 5 games. 21 sacks in the last 5 games. JD Bertrand, Caden Ellis, the island, right, the island known as AJ Terrell, Terrell's Island. It's in full effect. Book your tickets. Call your travel agent.
Clear out. Ready? Clear out. You know what I'm ready for. Scary Terry who? Y'all tried to tell me that Terry McLaurin was the boogeyman. Y'all tried to tell me that Terry McLaurin was good. Some of y'all said that he was elite. Terry McLaurin, 1 reception, 5 yards. Scary is not an adjective I would use to describe you. Incarcerated, imprisoned, strapped, lost, ineffective. All words I would use to describe you, Mr. McLaurin. I tried to tell these other people that you were, in fact, mid at best. You saw AJ Terrell and did not see the ball but 1 time. I told y'all. Well, I told y'all. And you can go get your tablet and find all your different stats about what he did about everybody else. When it came to AJ Terrell, you were not present. Absentee. Were not marked safe.
AJ, I don't think that's an indictment on Terry McLaurin at all. I think that is a feather in the cap or kudos to AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell has done that to everybody. I think he's allowed 60 yards only once, and that was the DK Metcalf who got 45 of those yards on 1 pass. He's literally done that to everybody. Justin Jefferson had the game Justin Jefferson had because they put him away from AJ Terrell. Justin Jefferson was guarded by AJ Terrell 7 times in that game. He had 1 catch. 1 catch for 8 yards. So it's not Terry McLaurin. I don't think Terry McLaurin is elite. I think he's really good. I don't know if he's elite. He's not in. I mean, we've seen elite now. We've seen Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But you can't say that Terry McLaurin is not good or mid because he got shut down by AJ Terrell, is a top 5 corner in the league this year.
Drake London, or I'm not ever calling that man scary.
You literally just called him scary.
Yeah, and that's my final time. He is now Terry. I'm about to look up his real government name, and that's what I'm about to start referring to him. Mr. McLaurin or Drake London?
Probably Drake because he's younger. I would take Terry McLaurin on the Falcons today. I would put him as the second and put Darnell Mooney in the slot and run 3 wide today. Today, right now.
Yeah,
no problem.
Understands he's wide receiver too.
Don't matter. No matter. You can be wide receiver too. At that point, you got wide receiver 1A, 1B, and 2. You with that, nobody can guard you. I think Terry McLaurin is a really good receiver. I think AJ Terrell is having a Pro Bowl year. A Pro Bowl year. No alternate.
Yeah, nah. For me, I'm not scared. Not no boogeyman. Mr. McLaurin, that's your name. Wide receiver 2. And I'm sticking to it until proven otherwise.
So I gave them a C. Again, first half, I give them an A. First half, I give them an A because they played really, really well. Second half, couldn't stop Jaden Daniels in the third quarter. Couldn't get off the field. They had the ball for 30 plays. We had the ball for 3, I believe. There was a key penalty. I don't blame this on the penalty because they did it over and over again. But Washington had the ball after halftime. 3rd down and 23. They called, I don't know if it was holding, illegal contact down the field. Yeah, like they called something on D'Angelo Malone, and they showed it, and it didn't exist. No. Nobody could figure out what the flag was.
Phantom hold calls. A phantom hold call.
That then got Jaden. They gave him an automatic first down, and that's when Cliff Kingsbury just decided to run the ball with Jaden Daniels all the way down the field. And that's all they did the third quarter. They went for it on 4th. This is how I know Washington was nervous. In the 4th quarter, they went for it on 4th down 3 times in the third quarter. But we couldn't stop them because all they did was run sweep right, sweep left, back to pass. They completed 2 passes in the third quarter. One was to Zach Ertz, and I think the other one was to the running back out of the backfield that made it 4th and 1.
Yep.
You can't get mad at the defense. It don't matter. Him. You can't get mad at the defense. You got to get off the field. Hold up, I'm almost done. I got to get off the field. You exposed our linebackers. Our linebackers are slow. We're really good at stopping the run. Zach Ertz just kind of destroyed us. I would have liked to see maybe Richie Grant in as like a big nickel to maybe stop the Zach Ertz / spy Jaden Daniels. And then, well, of course, we never got the ball in overtime because we were tired. We were fatigued from the third quarter. I'll stand on that. What you got?
So, a couple things. I don't put this on the defense. The roster on the defense is not good enough.
Played as well as that roster could.
Absolutely. And I want to first say, damn, Jaden Daniels is a hard mofo to tackle or even get a good shot on. With that being said, I want to say that one of the things that you've kind of alluded to all season, and I've tried to mostly let them live, but this was the game where it was clearly evident, was not having that edge disruptor. We could not do anything. And we couldn't contain on the edge. He was playing like Lamar. He was really playing like a video game. It wasn't structured in a way where he was methodically hitting them boom, 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 boom. He was finding the holes in the defense and taking what he could get. And what he could get was like 7 or 8 yards every time. And our linebackers not being fast enough, he had all these carries. He had like 125 yards. but we could never get a good hit on him, which is the same thing that Lamar has, that elusiveness where you might be able to get him down, but you're not going to get the type of shot that you want. One time we had the outside linebacker in the right position, defensive end in the right position, closed and perfect. He slid right between where the guys were not fast enough, picked up the 7, first down. And that's the reason it's been a long time since I've been that frustrated watching a player play my team. Because it wasn't, they played their assignment properly. He was really Trey Young in a thing where I'm just going to manipulate everything here and I'm just find my spot and I'll find my spot again. And I ain't gonna lie, man, my friends told me to come to the bar. Like, hey, I can't watch this game with anybody else. I can't. And he put on a masterclass. Madden rating, elusivity needs to be a 99, if not 100. Because I know they were trying their best to get to him and just physically could not do it. Now, Zach Ertz, we had Jesse Bates on Zach Ertz the whole game. And that's been the game plan. And it worked so well. That's how Jesse sneaks in there. Even when Zach Ertz caught that touchdown, if that ball isn't perfect, that's a Jesse Bates pick 6. That's what he does. Zach Ertz is just a Super Bowl winning tight end, and he's a big guy, and he positions himself well. So Jesse Bates played defense. He was in the right position. He was making the tackles. He was even making a play on the ball. Just sometimes the offensive scheme is better than the defensive scheme and win. That's the reason I like offense.
Yeah, the scheme was there. Cool. I'll admit that the scheme was really good in the second half. It really wasn't no scheme. It was just run the ball with Jaden Daniels.
We weren't.
Where there wasn't no real scheme on it. A lot of his stuff wasn't just design runs, except for the 4th down calls. It was just him. Where I give the D-, almost an F, is coaching. Specifically, Raheem Morris. If I could give you something below an F, I could give you a I for incomplete. But I don't, because our coordinators coached. No, let me finish. Our coordinators coached so well. Our coordinators actually outside again. Jimmy Lake, I have been on Jimmy Lake all year. Outside of them 2 drives in the third quarter, we played pretty decent. The 2 drives in the third quarter in overtime. We played pretty decently.
Coordinators did a B job.
Right. Like, so that's why I'm getting
Jimmy
to the D.
Did what he did, what he had. And then
that's why I'm getting to the D. Pause. Is because Zach Robinson called a really good game too, except for not giving the ball to Algier. But Bijan was going crazy. And you can't really get mad at Zach Robinson for the third quarter because you only had the ball one time. So, I mean, you can't really get mad at the coordinators. But what you can get mad about Raheem is Raheem. Timeouts do not roll over. These are not minutes from Singular Wireless. They do not roll over, bro. You don't have to save them for nothing. They are valueless when you leave the stadium. Not only did you leave points on the board at halftime where we could have scored a touchdown. In the end of the game, instead of attempting a 57 or 58-yard field goal that comes up 3 yards short, if you just call timeout and get to the line and get a play, Michael Penix was wheeling and dealing in the fourth quarter. You then could get 10 or 5. All you needed was 5 more yards, 5 or 10 more yards, and we make that kick and we win the game, and now we play Carolina to get into the playoffs and have a home game, where now we have to play Carolina, hopefully, and win, and hope that the Saints decide to not, phone it in. But if it were me and I'm the Falcons, and I know I'm not going to the playoffs, I'm phoning it in so the Saints can't go in. 100%. I think we've done that before. So I give them a D, pause if necessary. Just pause this whole conversation. But I don't give them an F because of the coordinators. But Raheem Morris, I stood on business for you from the time you got hired. I have taken on and argued with racists that have called you DEI hires. I have argued with people that said you are a terrible coach and that you are along for the coattails and the ride all of your career. You can't make these mistakes, man. You can't make these mistakes to cost your team the division. You can't make these mistakes to cost, and it's not even the fact that you're making the mistakes as a first-year head coach, not even first-year head coach, as a head coach of the Falcons, but you're making these mistakes over and over again. The clock management thing was a problem with Kirk. Why didn't you step up as a leader and just you and the quarterback are the only people that have the position and the power to call a timeout. We had the ball with
quarterback don't have that.
50 seconds left in the game, and you let the clock run down to the teens. That's inexcusable. And then you try to say, "Oh, in the press conference, I would have hoped we got up to the line faster." Well, what time did you realize that we weren't getting to the damn line faster? Was it the first 10 seconds that ran off the clock? Or was it the 20 seconds? Or was it the 25? You can't do that as a head coach, dude. I yield my time because I'm going to start yelling in my baby sleep.
So the first thing is every I'm sure they practice it damn near every practice. You have 2-minute drill. You know how fast your team gets to the line. And if you don't know that, then that's your fault. Also, I understand probably not taking the timeout with a minute left. But when it got to 40 seconds, I said it, the world said it. Timeout, 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 timeout. You went from 40 seconds to 20 seconds and no play got off. You blew it. And the most embarrassing part is that halftime team time management probably was worse than end of game time management. And I wonder if anybody said anything to him at half, like, "Hey, man, we blew that." Did you go into the half and leave out of halftime thinking that you did that well? That's my question is, at the end of the half, did you really think that, man, you know what? Us kicking this 56-yard field goal with our backup, with our third-string kicker is the right thing to do? Like, you put him in a bad position. I felt bad for him. He's like, bro,
This is my third team. This is my third team.
Third team, and this is my second game with y'all. And you got me kicking a 56-yard field goal, bro? I didn't sleep well last night, and I text Reggie early this morning. Like I text Reggie like
7:52.
No, 6:52.
Your
6:52. Time. Yes. I didn't sleep well last night, man. Raheem Morris, man, if I could have got to you last night, I would have wanted to put hands on you. Because that's your game. You need to wear that one as your game. I think you got as much as you could get out of that team playing against another, like Jaden Daniels. I don't like to lose, but I give that guy so much respect. He gave it everything he had. He whooped us, and he just put on a masterclass. Like, as a football fan, you can only get so mad to have the opportunity to watch somebody play football that well. He make you want to get out there and play and think that you can do some of that stuff. And I don't care what nobody says. He looks like Lamar. That ability to just turn the speed on and off and be jogging but be faster than everybody else, man, he was.
Yeah, I mean, he from an impact standpoint, I do think he's like
run
Lamar.
The rest of my beard gray. He was stressing me. I was sitting here by myself.
But Lamar is like it has more
Lamar
burst.
Faster than him.
Yeah, it's faster. It has more acceleration. But Jaden Daniels, no, Jaden Daniels 6'5", 6'4".
But I'm talking about like,
yeah, for now. But Jaden Daniels, the thing about him,
I don't know if he's gonna get those type of muscles.
Chris Collinsworth called him. He was like, it looks like he's skiing. And that's exactly what it looked like. It looked like he was just going through the Alps, and the Falcons were the flags, and he was just doing this. He wasn't breaking stride.
Right,
he was
there?
just going right there. Whoop. Yeah. No, it's like he's a faster Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's how he runs, is like Patrick Mahomes. It don't look, he just getting out the way. And then once he hit that corner, it's like, well, that's 7 yards right there. Like, the Commanders aren't a great team. Let's put that out. They're not a great team, but they're great because of him. He's a great player for
Oh,
sure.
he's a great player, and he make the rest of that mid look real good.
Because let me tell
And
y'all,
that's what,
Dan Quinn is mid now.
yeah, for sure. Like definitely 100%. You look at that team, and that team is not good, and that team did not beat us. Jaden
No,
Daniels,
they beat us.
Jaden. You know what? I gotta say that they did beat us. I can't. In light of what I said earlier in the pod, you're right. They did beat us. But Jaden Daniels did the majority of the heavy lifting. And then you look up and he was just chunking us for quarters. He walked us the whole third quarter. He just hijacked it. The whole overtime, he hijacked it. You and Michael Penix, I felt bad for him because they kept. Number one, I'm gonna tell y'all, when Michael Penix started lighting up, y'all cut the Kirk Cousins, y'all assholes.
I laughed every time. I laughed. I was like, hey, Kurt, I need you to be a little bit more involved, bro. You got to be the quarter.
Nah,
I understand. I understand the bitterness. I understand.
no,
But you got to be you. I need you to be the quarterback's coach. I need you to be the
yeah,
quarterback's coach.
but well, okay. So I'm gonna tell you what Kirk said. Kirk said, "Well, there are a million people in his ear right now, so I don't want to be that." And I get that, especially as a young quarterback. You probably got Raheem talking to you. You got Zach talking to you. The receivers is telling you what they see. The linemen telling you what you do. Like, hey, back up. Everybody's talking to me. And even I think that Kirk is doing a good job of waiting for, all right, let's get to the end of the drive where you got a second, like when he threw the interception. After everybody that gave you all the verbal diarrhea, this is what I saw, this is what I saw. He was like, hey, man, flush it and just go to the next. That's what I think is the best thing that Kirk Cousins can do to you right now is just tell you as a guy who's been in this position, it ain't the end of the world, bro. You got this. And you do. Michael Penix played his ass off in a playoff game on the road.
Yeah. So thinking about the playoffs, we
Wait,
have.
hold on. But Raheem Morris,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to do. You put yourself in a position where,
You can be fired.
yeah, and if you Google Raheem Morris, everybody's talking about your clock management. And that really frustrates me, especially for black coaches, because they always want to be like, oh, does he have the aptitude? Does he know how to do this? Does he have the intelligence? Like Reggie said, they already call him a DEI hire, et cetera, all of that. But it doesn't help when you give them fuel like this and you have the poor clock management going in a half and then double down and do it at the end of the game. When everybody else seems to have everything together, you're the guy who lets the team down. You put yourself in a very unique position. And if I'm a guy looking for a job, the Falcons job looks really good because by the time that they fire Raheem, that Kirk money will be gone. And them players, right, the new players will already be signed. And everything else over there looks pretty good. Terry Fontenot, you better find the edge rusher, a legitimate edge rusher, not that zombie Matthew Judon. You better find somebody from somewhere.
Yeah. Especially when they're already talking about firing Gerard Mayo after 1 year as well. Maybe that'll help you because if you fire two black coaches after 1 year, it look kind of wild. But I mean, both of them will be justified. But moving on. So this is our path to the playoffs.
But we ain't going nowhere.
The Falcons can clinch a playoff, and it's only the division because we're too bad to be a wild card because we lost this game. We can clinch with a win versus the Panthers and a Bucks loss, or that's it. Or the Bucks win with the clinch with the win versus the Saints or a Falcons loss. I expect the Falcons to beat the Panthers. I expect for the Bucks to try to embarrass the Saints.
1, 2, 3. Cancun. I am not going to waste not any of my thoughts nor any of my prayers. Raheem wasted up all my good thoughts and prayers with us last game. This, first of all, I'm not begging the Saints for nothing. Nathaniel. And I know that Baker ain't finna play with them people. One thing he's not going to do is get there, I don't think, and lay an egg. I think that I hate for our season to end this way, but I think that it should keep us, everybody, very humble. Everybody, especially in this last game, everybody really played very well. There's a lot of talent there, but we need a defensive end. We need a havoc creator on an end. And Raheem, you lost that game, bro. I know it's a team game. You lost that game.
No, he lost it. Him and Fontenot are the reason the Falcons are in the position they're in. We got exposed at linebacker. Our linebackers are good at one thing we are good at is again rushing the passer. We got exposed at second corner.
Boys to DN.
Mike Hughes, we got exposed. He did have a good play against Zacchaeus, even though Zacchaeus really dropped it. We got exposed at second corner. They just go away from AJ Terrell. And bad clock management. So we've spent a lot of capital on this offense. It is time to spend all of the capital because we don't have many picks. It's time to spend all of the capital on defense.
I ain't playing with y'all this time. Whoever is available from the University of Georgia at defensive end is who you better draft.
I've done, you know me, immediate mock draft as soon as we lost.
I ain't playing with y'all.
I was like,
ain't playing with y'all.
What do we need to have to get Jalen Walker or Michael Williams? One of them. Or Malachi Starks at safety.
We got to have it. Must have.
He said, got to have it.
I'm not playing no more. You better call Bruce Smith. I'm going to tell you right now, you better find the edge rusher. And I'm not, or you better get Micah. But this team is at a point where we've identified our quarterback, our running back, our wide receiver one. Kyle Pitts, you can go or you can stay, honestly. I love you, but you didn't put yourself in a unique position. If I was you, I'd take a pay cut.
I'm sold. I'm about to say, you sold me on signing him for cheap now because he looks like a different person with Michael Penix too now. It really might have been Kurt. You sold me on that.
Yeah, but the thing about Kyle Pitts, the reason I can say he could go is his effort. I don't see effort. He drops too many passes for me. You got to be a unicorn. Unicorns fly. You ain't flying. You look like a horse with a horn. That ain't enough for me, son. Ain't enough for me. So
Pegasus.
Right. If I bought a unicorn, I want a fucking unicorn. I want Mr. Ed. Charlie Warner out there, at least Charlie blocking and still caught a pass.
Yeah. Sneaky, how many teams have good cornerbacks though? I think most teams have one decent corner. Good to decent corner. It's the teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the teams like the Detroit Lions who either mask their second corner very well or have a good second corner. So I think most teams have one good corner. I think we could probably get two. But there is one good team. So that's the Falcons talk. We'll end it right there.
The issue with the cornerback, hold on. The issue with the second cornerback is all the rest of the defensive back spots are good. Simmons is good. Bates is elite. Well, Bates is elite. Terrell is elite.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh. That covers. You don't have that much work to do to not look good.
Well, D. Alford, so they picked out D. Alford to kind of pick on him. They picked on him with Zach Ertz and they picked on him with Crowder, although Crowder only had one catch. I think, but it's hard to criticize the secondary in this game because Jaden Daniels was back there for 5 seconds sometimes, even though we had 5 sacks. We had 5 sacks that game, and he still was out there playing well. But
they were okay with giving up the sacks because that was their running game essentially. It's just like, okay, all right, well, sometimes you're gonna sack the quarterback, but sometimes he's gonna run for 15 yards.
Yeah,
I haven't been that frustrated in a very, very long time watching a football game where it's not like our team sucks. He was just the manipulation. He got a little Trey Young in him too.
Oh, Trey, yeah, he definitely does.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, boy.